Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another animation analysis. Today we have Yixuan's character demo. This is Martial Summit Showdown. I am excited about this one purely because I've seen it kind of scattered around for a while. I've seen the thumbnail in multiple scrolls around my own For You page in the past couple months. I've seen a lot of people comment it, and I added it to my list for that reason, and now I get to see why it's so exciting and why so many people want me to get to it. So I guess that's what this video is going to be, and of course I'm going to be talking about the animation techniques afterward, but I suppose that's enough for an intro, and I guess without further ado, let's go!
Simulation combat data updated.
Thank you for your hard work, Miss Miyabi. The data entry went smoothly. Here's your coffee. Please enjoy.
Thanks. I'll pass. Who's that over there?
Ah, that's Yixuan Shifu from Yunkwei Summit. She's here to compare combat data today.
Huh? Was I assigned to compare combat data? Understood. Better not keep her waiting.
Keep her... Oh, Miss Miyabi, that's not what I meant.
I do always love the bounciness that Zenless has in their animation. It's so lively, plenty of squash and stretch.
That's it for them. But seems there's one last troublemaker.
Ooh, good lighting on her there.
Could be a system error.
Yixuan Shifu, sorry to keep you waiting. We're scheduled for a 3-move training session. Without further ado, let us begin.
Oh, this is why people wanted me to watch this one.
Training? Oh, sure.
There's a fight. Oh, the foreshortening in that.
Expected nothing less.
No need to be polite. What I was saying...
I understand. I was rude to hold back. Let's proceed with the second move.
Oh, now I'm getting excited. There's already so many good shots, and we've barely begun. Woo! Okay, effects animation team. Okay, effects animation team. Stop it! I'm already so busy with this video. Wow.
Isn't over yet?
Oh man. Oh man. I'm just sitting here flabbergasted. I mean, the lighting on that, the coloring on that. Oh, not the 2D. Come on. I do loves me that like inky sort of style, that painterly vibe. I've talked about it so many times. The ink brush style though, it's just so cool.
Almost time to clock out. Why don't we make this quick?
Whew. Nice impact there too. You know we're gonna be getting there. Gotta talk about my impact frames. God, the effects work on her abilities is so clean. Oh. Ah. You broke it.
You're impressively strong.
Millions of
Yixuan
dollars.
Shifu. I apologize for offending you. I meant no harm.
It's all right. So you must be Hoshimi Miyabi. You live up to your reputation. By the way, can we leave now?
I'm terribly sorry. We're doing everything we can to repair it. Also,
Yeah,
the combat
you're
data
kind of
from
stuck in
earlier.
there.
It's fine. By the way, I still have an unfinished training session today.
Oh?
It involves having dessert with a new friend.
Oh god, that did not feel like 4 minutes of animation. There is so much I have to talk about now. There's so much in that video. It is so dense with beautiful shots. I'm gonna try my best to get to everything I really want to focus on, but I am probably gonna have to cut a few things, even though I'm trying to not do that as much, just because there's so much to talk about here. I'm gonna focus a lot on the action and the details in this video, so we're gonna jump right into that sequence. But I want to give an honorable mention to a few things too. The subtle uses of squash and stretch on the assistant in the intro, as well as this bird, are really nice. Each movement gives them a real sense of emotion and presence in the scene that I love stylistically. As I've talked about in prior videos, the Zenless animation style is a perfect hybrid of classic animation principles with modern flair. But onto the fight. This is going to be a lot to take in, so for those of you who are here to learn, get your pencils or note apps ready. This first rush Miyabi does already sets the tone for the details in this fight. She pulls her sword, the camera moves, and she's gone, and I mean gone. She's in frame for 7 frames. That's it. And the camera lag behind her, so you don't see her again until frame 20. This sets our expectation of speed extremely well. We feel that gap, and she's at least twice as fast as you would expect. Then it's immediately followed up with a whiplash of techniques: squash and stretch, overlap, exaggeration, secondary animation, appeal, arcs. When she whips her sword up and spins it around, she leads it into the final spin with her whole body. It's a very dynamic movement to start, and they did not cut any corners. They really get you to feel the pressure while maintaining the control and grace in all of her movements here. Even for people like me who know nothing but her name, I know now that Miyabi means business, even if Yizhuan challenges that by matching her aura and not moving. This single following shot is absolutely insane too, exclusively due to the composition. A beautiful line of action, I mean textbook. Miyabi's pose is brilliantly dynamic here, using an exaggerated perspective. It's so exaggerated, it could count as a curvilinear perspective, which is basically just fisheye in nerd speak for the record. It just goes to show how much you can get away with when exaggerating a perspective for really any dynamic result. But anyway, back to the line of action. Not only is Miyabi in a great pose, but she starts in the bottom right third of the screen and she ends in the top left. So this intersection with Yizhuan creates a perfect screen balance, especially when you count in all of the additional lines of action from the spikes and everything else around her. If you were to strip this down into a rough sketch, you could clearly see the intent of each entity on screen. That's what makes a great line of action. In the next sequence, we have this great teaser in the form of the blade's reflection. This is great because it clarifies 2 things to the viewer: where the camera just cut to and where it's going. Since we just came out of a still shot, you need to keep motion in mind when you start it. The audience needs this information. If you don't provide it, you'll definitely only confuse them. Using the sword for this is a great in-character way for Miyabi to resolve that problem. I also love that the screen flashes black a few times as the blade closes in. This is an editing trick for action that adds stress by removing visual information from the audience's perspective, while also simulating time slowing down or even speeding up in some context. It basically abuses our reaction time to sell anxiety, a perfect choice for this exact moment. But that's just the beginning. This project is chock full of brilliant action tricks and examples. We get this great showing of Miyabi's speed, this time from Yizhuan's perspective instead of the audience's perspective. It puts into context how far she can get in just a few seconds. We also get some nice details of smear frames just to sell that rotation speed a little bit further. Then we get the perspective change here. Suddenly the camera tracks back into Miyabi's perspective, and we get to track her in time to see Yizhuan's counter as we zoom in on her for that reaction shot. This shot covers so much information, I'm actually kind of mad. Not because it isn't great, but because this cinematographer was working on this short and not a high-budget film somewhere. They should have been honored to have somebody like this available in general, and I'm sure they were, but like Like, they better be. Up next is probably my favorite sequence in the whole short. Just a cavalcade of juicy detail work. Their abilities' colors are complementary, and having them swirl together in this black slurry is very satisfying to watch. Even more so, I love that they're kept dynamically separate, with that golden amber color being incorporated with the black, while the blue dances around it as a cloud of particles. Then as Yizhuan comes out of it, they add the subtle detail of her pupils dilating. This is extremely easy to miss in speed, but it clues to her headspace in that moment, realizing that it's not over yet and regaining her composure before the next strike. And we're lucky she did, because here comes Miyabi off the top rope with a 360 crescent moonfall bomb to finish her off. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. Let's rewind a bit. Miyabi has another great example of dynamic line of action and exaggeration here. Just in these couple of frames, you can see her model being stretched and rotated in unnatural ways to sell the rotation, including her sword, before literally becoming a beam of light as she rockets downward. It's absurd, but it works so well in motion, you hardly notice, which is a key ingredient to why animation works so well for action. As they hit the ground running, we get a couple of really cool effects here, namely this chromatic aberration and screen warp thing as Yizhuan defends from Miyabi's assault. Honestly, this entire sequence here is a masterclass in more of Miyabi's gorgeous movement. Every pose she strikes is so fluid and dynamic, it's hard to pick one to focus on. She's constantly off model, and that works really, really well for her style. The close combat choreography is insanely well done. Whoever the fight designer was outdid themselves in translating their in-game abilities to this showdown, even down to including Nimbus Step in her dodge and the presumably Tai Chi based redirection of Miyabi's sword. Speaking of Miyabi, the way that they demonstrate her speed during the following onslaught is great. It's just brilliant. I can't stop geeking out about it. For one, all of the frames you see of her are distorted, so you can tell she's too fast for even the camera to get a good look at. But also, at times she's on screen in multiple locations, so she's moving so fast that the camera's too slow at a minimum of factor of 2. Some quick napkin math, knowing that this was uploaded at 30 FPS, means that she can move to Yizhuan, slice, and then return comfortably at about 15 millisecond intervals. Given the extremely rough measurement of distances I tried here, this means that she can move about 50 feet or 15 meters in the time that it takes for a housefly to flap its wings 3 times. No wonder she is the GOAT. Not that Yizhuan being able to deflect that is any less impressive, but 3 wing flaps from a fly is insane. But now it's time for impact frames. Let's go! So for this one, it's pretty straightforward. A black flash, a minor impact point highlight, inverted detail shot, and some cheeky little camera blur as we come back into focus. It's simple, but it's well executed. The bread and butter of this sequence is definitely the next one though. Boom! Out of the yellow burst, we get a fully inverted color swap to the blue, signifying a power shift in Miyabi's favor. Match that to the red edge accents on her model and foxfire engulfing the background to fully seat the dynamic that Yizhuan is no longer in control. She tries to react, but the screen is taken up by even more blue and black impacts of Miyabi's sword, fully settling the score. I also love the glass shattering as the power shift hits. It's probably just signifying the fragile barrier between their abilities, plus particles always look really fucking cool. But wait, there's more! This ink style animation is always gorgeous to look at. The meticulous details in the textures accent a rough and seemingly desperate show of power, hoping to win back the advantage. Yizhuan pulls out what looks like a Hail Mary barrage here in the coolest way possible. Likely realizing she can't beat Miyabi's speed, she opts for density to keep her busy. This is another brilliant showing of the choreography in this fight. Every attack and subsequent defense makes full logical sense. They aren't just throwing everything out all at once. They're conserving power and learning weaknesses as they go. It looks great and feels even better. Plus, we get even more, even fancier impact frames to follow. As Miyabi readies her next move move, Foxfire charges her sword and gives up these top tier impact frames. My favorite being this one of Miyabi's face in the flames, reframing her as part of the energy itself, not just a vessel for it. It was really neat. There's a couple more like this before we get to the big final one, which, while similar to the others, shares the color palettes of both characters for the first time, I believe, really emphasizing the finality of this clash. Now, the only reason I kind of sped through those last impact frames is because I noticed something unique as that last onslaught started. Yi Zhuan doesn't have impact frames specific to her. The only time we see them is when Miyabi is involved, and they're usually specifically for her. This adds another identity layer to their characters. Miyabi's energy and fighting style is aggressive, quick, sharp, and precise. The impact frames accentuate that alongside the fire and electricity effects that surround every move. Yi Zhuan, contrastly, is smooth, calculated, relatively calm, but surging with waves of power that feel heavier in comparison. They're basically fire and water in every way, even though Yi Zhuan's abilities resemble ink, I believe. Fire can be put out by water, obviously, but fire can easily evaporate water if there isn't enough. In that, we find these two butting heads, and why Miyabi was constantly winning out in these short battles. Yi Zhuan simply wasn't outputting enough to be able to keep the fire under control. She had to keep adding pressure to keep her away, and managed to do so by the end, keeping things at a stalemate. This is one of the best rival fight scenes I've ever seen in modern media, and I mean that wholeheartedly. The best balance, the best relationship, the best attention to character abilities without disrespecting combat intelligence for the sake of plot. This fight is up there with like Naruto versus Sasuke's last battle in Shippuden. No handicaps, no plot devices, no excuses, just raw skill of two fully actualized combatants. I don't glaze either one of these properties, but brilliant fight design and visuals to match is objective when it's done this well. You couldn't ask for a better result, and props to everyone involved for knocking it out of the park. And that's pretty much it. Sorry this took so long to get out. For those who have been waiting for like over a month, I apologize. There were so many things in the way, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but I did in that time also find some production bonuses to my flow to make these easier. I've been talking about how I've been kind of working towards that because there's plenty that I know I could improve on, and I'm working towards those to make this load of these videos easier to edit, easier to write, easier to record. Especially I use a teleprompter for these, and that's kind of weird to get used to, but I also, for example here, direct best example of what I've improved on, I finally got a controller for the teleprompter so I can actually like move it instead of like prior to this I would have to like record, I would fuck it up, the scroll would continue going, I'd have to turn around, pause, find the last chapter, reset it, turn back around, prepare myself, turn around like this, hit play, and then do it again. And that would happen 12 to 15 times easy per recording. So like that adds up to a lot of time. This time, now that I have a controller for it, I'm able to record in half the time. It used to take me an hour on average to record all of the talking head narration stuff for the animation analysis, and now I take half an hour for that long, and that's nothing. So this is going to be so much easier, amongst other like editing choices I've decided to do, little things I was trying with like the overlay edits and all that stuff. So like I'm attempting to add more to this. As I just get better at including those when and where, I'll improve on that side too. So things will just get better from here, but we shouldn't have a gap of like 2 months between getting one of these out. And I hate that because I love doing these, but they are a bear to produce, and I'm glad we're finding these little things to fix to make that better. So that's a giant roundup of just saying, sorry it took so long. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, expect another one very soon. The next one will be a Genshin Impact one, I believe, and then after that, I believe we'll be back to another one. I believe that the next one after that is Zenless. Either way, I'm going to get to more. There's plenty more. If you have more you want me to get to, I have like a little mini short list, so leave them in the comments below, and if I see enough love for a specific one, I will definitely put it on the list to get to. And I suppose that's about it, so thank you all so very much for watching, and thank you so very much for your patience. I'm so sorry this took so long, but I digress. If you enjoyed this video and you want to follow me for more coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!